what's up guys? Welcome back to another video and happy weekend. I hope you're all having a good one so far. Now the weekend is normally a time for us all to pick up the guitar and start practicing, start messing around with combinations of pedals. Maybe you're looking to overhaul your pedal board this weekend, who knows? Well, in this video I want to give you guys a bit of advice about how to use overdrive pedals and how to get really great sounding tones for guitar solos. Tones with enough clarity to be crystal clear, but saturated enough that you'll get some really nice harmonic sustain. So in the clip that you heard at the start of this video, that's pretty much as gainy as my tone normally gets, and that tone is created by stacking two different overdrive pedals. My all guns blazing lead tone is never ever achieved by just using one overdrive pedal with the drive turned right up. For most overdrive pedals, they never sound good if you crank the gain knob. Things start to get really woolly, there's no real definition in the notes, and it can sound quite muddy quite quickly. The secret to getting awesome lead guitar tones is by stacking two different overdrive pedals, but with the gain on each turned relatively low and cranking the output to give you that boost. So there are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind if you are looking to stack overdrive pedals. Firstly, the order in which you put the drive pedals in your signal chain is going to determine what they sound like. Now, the train of thought and the route that I take is basically putting whatever drive pedal I want to be the main sound of that particular tone. I always put that second in the chain. Let's take the pedals that I used for that solo as an example. I was using the Wampler Tumnus, which is a predominantly mid-pushed overdrive, with a Trex Alberta, which is a tube screamer style pedal. Again, quite focused in the mid-range. Although they are both mid-focused overdrives, the characteristic of the two tones is quite different. The Tumnus sounds really good as a basic all-round boost to give some extra clarity and some roundness to the sound. So that is pretty much an always-on pedal for me. I'm not crazy for the tone that my amp has as standard, nothing wrong with it, but to my ears it's just a little bit lifeless at times. So I put the Tumnus on just to give my amp a great foundational tone to build from, and it has just a little bit of added boost and a bit of grit on it. So all of the colour is coming from the Trex Alberta, from that tube screamer style pedal, and that's what's going to give my lead tone a lot of character. So I always put that after the Tumnus. If I was to put it the other way around, the tone would actually be quite different. So that's something to think about first of all. Of your drive pedals, which to your ears sounds the best? Which do you want to be the character of your lead sound? Next, we need to talk about volume and basically how to set the levels, because again, the order in which you place your drive pedals does have an impact on how the volume side of the pedals interact with each other. It's best to picture it as a kind of cascade function. So if you increase the level on your first drive pedal, that's not actually going to increase the volume very much. It's actually just going to push and saturate the second pedal in your chain. It's kind of like how you would use a pedal to boost the preamp circuit of a traditional valve amp. So if you are looking to get a boost for solos, it's always best to increase the gain and push the second pedal, and basically you're just using the first pedal as the kind of foundation tone to build from. It's really just thinking of your drive pedals as stages of gain, much like a multi-channel amp would be. And because if you're anything like me, I don't always have this all guns blazing lead tone on for every solo that I do. Sometimes I'll just use the Tumnus as a subtle boost for solos, and normally I'll use the volume control on my guitar to go from my clean tone to my boosted tone. And then if I want to build the dynamics, that's when I might kick in the Alberta just to get to the tone that you were hearing at the start of this video. Finally, it's worth mentioning EQ and basically how you can stack different frequencies to really thicken the sound. So I mentioned that keeping the gain quite low and keeping the volume quite high on these pedals is what's going to give you that nice definition and that nice clarity in your tone, and that's where stacking overdrives works really well for me. But you also need to think about what the EQ spectrum of these effects are and how that's going to interact interact with your amp. Now, I use Fender style amps, which are predominantly quite scooped in the mid-range, so having a klon and a tube screamer type circuit works really well, because those are really mid-pushed, so that's just going to elevate my tone, and it's really going to fill up that scooped midsection in my frequency range. If I put a really mid-scooped overdrive sound on my guitar amp, it's only going to scoop it out further, and it's not going to have any definition, and it's going to be really hard for that tone to pierce through in a mix. But maybe you like a mid-scooped sound, maybe something like a fuzz face, or something that is in the fuzz realm, which is normally quite scoopy. Having that, and then having your second gain stage be a klon or a tube screamer, which has that real focus mid-range, that's going to fill in the rest of the space in the fuzz frequency, and it's going to give you a really thick sound. So always make sure to consider your frequency options and what you're actually stacking, because again, that is going to definitely have a dramatic effect on the tone. Those were just a few thoughts if you are looking at experimenting this weekend with drive pedals and you're looking to get better and more defined lead tones. I hope that is useful, and I would love to hear down below what drive pedals you use and basically what you enjoy about them. As always guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. Enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you tomorrow for another one.